That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I just want to repeat myself in case you did not hear me in the video that we had this morning. Last night we had a record-breaking stream. I mean, over 1,000 people. It was absolutely insane. And I just owe y'all all the biggest thank you. Because even if you weren't able to make it out to the stream, y'all going down there, liking the videos, leaving comments on the videos, that's just helping grow us the stream later on. The stream helps the videos help the stream. Guys, any support that y'all are showing to the channel is drastically improving every area of the channel. We are skyrocketing just past 11,000 subscribers. I mean, just absolutely insane, and none of it would have been possible without the great support that y'all have been showing the channel. So I owe y'all a massive thank you. And I'll be saying, guys, y'all know we stream at 8:30 p.m. Central every single night, except on Thursday. Since there's that Thursday night football game tonight, we're gonna have to wait until after the game concludes. Then we're gonna go, and usually if the game's like really boring and maybe it's a blowout, then I'll start a couple minutes early. But generally, we're just going to wait until right after the game ends, then we will be live, and I'll be able to answer all of your fantasy football questions. But let's get into the video, and let's talk about 5 running backs that I think you should go out there and consider starting in week 5. And now, I think that when we are looking at this, guys, keep in mind, this is all relative. Like, if you play in an 8-man league and your options are like Ezekiel Elliott, just say Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then one of these running backs I'm about to talk about, no, you just go with your studs. But the majority of us, we are going out there and having to make very difficult decisions based on a ton of injuries that we've seen around the NFL so far. And guys, I mean, it is getting ugly. But let's start with our first running back that I think could make an intriguing start in week 5. And this is going to be Mike Davis. Now, y'all know we've had a wild ride with Mike Davis. Going into week 3, I went out there, made him our #1 priority ad, and then I told y'all not to start him. And he blew up and just made me look like a complete idiot. But since then, we have gone out there and we have learned from our mistake. We understand that Mike Davis, with the role that he currently has on the Carolina Panthers offense, is going to be an auto start with the matchup against the Atlanta Falcons, because we understand a couple things here. One, Mike Davis has been used so much in the passing game that this is a running back that we can confidently rely on getting us at the very minimum 4 receptions in week 5. And whenever you have that 4 reception floor, which is generally going to lead to probably about 30-40 receiving yards, that's going to be an automatic insulation of 7 or 8 PPR points that is going to give you a floor game with what you expect. And then anything that he provides running the ball is just going to be a bonus. If he goes out there, scores a touchdown, maybe runs for another 50 yards, then you're looking at like a 20-point week from Mike Davis, something that we know is entirely possible. And what's the best thing about going out there and playing Mike Davis this week is we know the Atlanta Falcons are the worst defense against guarding the running back in the passing game. Over the past 3 seasons, they have just been a complete pass funnel to the running back position, where it seems like they don't care. They say, yeah, you can dump off to Mike Davis all day. We're not going to guard him. You do you, and we're just going to play our side of the football. And it's extremely surprising that the Atlanta Falcons have not made any adjustments. I don't know if it's based on the personnel that they have, but at the moment, I think we are going to continue to play our pass-catching running backs against the Atlanta Falcons. And based on the usage that we've seen Mike Davis have so far in 2020, I think that he is going to continue to be an auto-start player for us every single week. Now, this next player is going to be a player that we need to monitor going into Sunday, which is going to be Jerick McKinnon. Because Jerick McKinnon has a fantastic matchup going up against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, something where if he's going to be the starter and he's going to see the same amount of volume that he has over the past 2 weeks, this is just a smash spot for Jerick McKinnon going up against one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. But like I said, we have to monitor this. We have to understand, is Raheem Mostert going to be active? Because while I do think Jerick McKinnon should have a role in this game, regardless of if Raheem Mostert is active or not, if we understand that Mostert is going to come in, take about 60% of the running back touches in this backfield, that's going to move Jerick McKinnon from an auto-start player for us this week to just kind of being completely off our radar. And maybe, just maybe, if you have been decimated by injuries, if you had an Austin Eckler, a Nick Chubb, a Saquon Barkley, I mean, maybe you can consider going out there and playing Jerick McKinnon in your flex. But at the moment, I think when he is lined up to be the feature down running back against the Miami Dolphins, this is a guy that we want to be jamming in. He has the work in the passing game. He has the work in the running game. We know he is highly athletic, and this is just a great matchup for him. Okay, now our next player, James Robinson. Now James Robinson should be a lot more obvious than these first two running backs. He's seeing about 90% of the work so far in Jacksonville. A running back that I still have my question marks around him long term, but I've moved my stance off him where I don't think we can afford to sell him based on the fact that just every running back in the NFL is dropping like flies. I mean, they are so valuable to come by because they are so hard to get, and it's going to be almost impossible to replace them on the waiver wire. But with James Robinson going into Houston, I think we've seen Houston's defense just be absolutely horrendous so far in 2020. And I think having their head coach fired in the middle of the week is not necessarily going to help them whatsoever. I think maybe Bill O'Brien being gone from this team is going to help the offense in the long term. But in a short week, I think that it's going to be something that we can almost just say we're not going to be able to predict, because there's no way you truly know what's going to happen with this Houston Texans organization without their general manager and without their head coach in the office for the first time in I don't know how many years. So with James Robinson going up and having a fantastic matchup, with him having 90% of the team's overall carries so far at the running back position, understanding at the same time that the Jacksonville Jaguars should be competitive in this game. The Houston Texans are 0-4. We understand that it's going to be hard for them to go out there and be a favorite in this game without their head coach. So I think with James Robinson, he is going to be just kind of a no-brainer play for me right here. This one's definitely going to be the most obvious one out of this group. Now let's get to one that y'all are probably going to perceive to be obvious, but I just want to mention it because he was a clear sell high candidate for me and is still the most obvious sell high candidate at the running back position, and it is Todd Gurley. But while we do want to go out there and sell Todd Gurley because we don't like the rest of his 2020 season projection, we have to be objective about this. We have to look at week 5, look at him going up against the Carolina Panthers. And yes, I know Kenyon Drake was not able to get anything going against the Carolina Panthers, something that we did not, we expected Kenyon Drake to go out there and really put up a decent game, because this run defense was by far and away the worst run defense in the NFL in 2019. And at the very beginning of the 2020 season, we saw the same thing happen. They've had a bounce back since then, but I think we are going to see them regress back a little bit to just being one of the league's worst run defenses. And with Todd Gurley, we understand. I mean, we do not want to be playing him in matchups where the Atlanta Falcons are going to be major underdogs. He needs to be going out there and he needs to be going against a bad run defense against a team that's not necessarily great in general, because it doesn't matter if they're going up against the Seattle Seahawks, who have a horrendous defense. Todd Gurley's not going to be a play because we don't know what the touchdown equity is going to look like, because they are going to have to go out there and sling the ball. But going up against the Carolina Panthers, I think we could see a game plan for this Atlanta Falcons centered around Todd Gurley and rushing the football. And in that case, I think Gurley does have some upside to go out there and score another touchdown or two. While that's something that's going to be very hard to project going forward over the entire 2020 season, I think that we can expect it in week 5. So generally, guys, I do think Todd Gurley is a sell high. He's a ticking time bomb with his knee. He's also just a running back that so far has more touchdowns than receptions this season. That is just the definition of a sell high in its season that we are seeing injury rates increased. We are just seeing running backs falling all over the place. I would much rather move Todd Gurley for a running back like Antonio Gibson after this week, especially considering that you're going to be able to get some on top of Antonio Gibson. But I think this is the matchup where if you're ever going to want to go play Todd Gurley, it's going to be now. Okay, now let's talk about a running back that I tried to get y'all to pick up before week 4 kicked off for absolutely free, and he looked fantastic in week 4, and this is Damien Harris. So Damien Harris is going up and playing the Denver Broncos, and I understand. I mean, this team looked horrendous with Brian Hoyer under center against the Kansas City Chiefs, but what we have to understand is going up against the Kansas City Chiefs is no easy task whatsoever, especially when this team had been game planning to use Cam Newton for the majority of the week, and then last second they had to switch over and try to center a game plan around Brian Hoyer, which obviously, I shouldn't even have to say this, is just a completely different type of quarterback than Cam Newton. I guarantee you 90% of the plays that they had drawn up to go up against Kansas City, they just had to completely throw out the window because they were not going to be an option with Brian Hoyer under center. But I think having a full week to go out there and really prepare for this Denver Broncos game with what they know their personnel is going to look like, while having Damien Harris go out there and rush for 100 yards against a good Kansas City Chiefs run defense and against just a poor matchup in general based on the great game script the New England Patriots saw in this game, I think we are going to expect Damien Harris and the New England Patriots team to be the favorites in this Denver Broncos matchup, regardless of who the Patriots quarterback is going to be. And based on Damien Harris running 100 yards last week, I think that we can expect something similar this week. I think he does have some touchdown equity. The only problem is we did not see the usage in the passing game that we would want to see. But like we said, I mean, these are guys that you're going out there considering putting in your flex spot. Maybe you suffered some injuries and you're really looking for plug and play production, and I think you could do a lot worse than Damien Harris. But thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, please make sure you go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all during the live stream tonight after the game.